The single most powerful influence that you can have is your character. And you know what I like to call your character? Your own personal brand. You see, when people talk about personal branding, it's really embodied in who you are, not who you tell people you are, not what your LinkedIn bio says, not the many likes that you have on social media, or even your profit and loss statement. It has everything to do with the foundation of who you are, the energy you bring. And I'm about to prove to you why working on your character is going to be the 2026 opportunity metric that you need to quantify in your own life. Let's get into it. This is the perfect time to share this message with your leadership development group or your employee resource group. All y'all gather around this video, get yourself some lunch, and let's have a conversation. I'll see you on the inside of the video. Your character seems to be a word or a phrase that people have equated to something fluffy and soft, when reality has everything to do with opportunity, with wealth, with this legacy that I like to often reference that we talk about within our community. And I want to give you a personal story to bring this home. So, first, I want to share with you who I am. My name is Diana Patton. And if you haven't been following me, I want to share that I am an authentic power strategist. I help women understand the power of their authenticity that will help them understand their biology and lead through their biology, visibility, and this opportunity to have their own personal brand and leading their life, doing their greatest work. And I absolutely love what I do because I would honestly say I've been an authentic power strategist for a long time. I just didn't even understand it was my power. And this authenticity, at the foundation of your authenticity, is your character, right? It's who you are when no one is watching. If you never had social media, but you were given an award or someone saw something in the work that you do, that has everything to do with impact, right? Because there's a vibrational currency that you carry within who you are and how you walk this earth, because people pick that up. And when you walk into a room, there's an energy that you have. And since we do have social media, you have to understand there's an energy that you even carry when someone comes to your LinkedIn page. And that vibration can be felt no matter where they are in the geographic world. So I want to share a personal story with you because I don't know if you've ever received calls where you're like, it just blows you away. I got a call like that last year. Is a positive call, but it was a call where the University of Toledo woman who says to me, Diana, this is Crystal. I'll say her name, Crystal. And I sent you an email, but I didn't hear back. And I'm just following up on it. And I wonder, do you have a few moments to talk? And immediately I'm thinking they want a donation. It's the University of Toledo. This is my alma mater. They want a donation. So of course I say, sure, because I mean, I'm a good donor. I'm a good graduate of the University of Toledo. And of course I also, as you may know or not know, I invest a lot of my time into mentorship for the University of Toledo Black basketball team. So I thought perhaps it could have been one of those things. And we also donate, my husband and I, to the University of Toledo. Okay, Diana, get to the point. So, anyways, see, I always do these videos like as if you and I are just talking and we're really, really good friends, which I'm hoping that we are, because this is no AI here, my friend. So I'm listening up. I'm like, okay. And she says, I want to see if you would be wanting to accept the award of Distinguished Alumni of the Year award. Of course, I'm sitting back and I lean forward and I'm like, what that mean? I'm like, what does that mean? I mean, and how much it gonna cost me? Because usually, when you get awards, or at least people say that you are we've researched your profile. And if you invest $500, you can get our magazine called the top 50 of such and such and such. Usually there's a cost to be paid to get these awards. A lot of people who get, these notable woman of the year award or these other things, there's usually some kind of like big application process and pay this fee of $500 because somebody's getting anything. And so, of course, I said, well, how much is it going to cost? She said, it doesn't cost you anything, Diana. So I'm like, okay, well, what exactly is this? And she says, have you ever heard of our Distinguished Alumni Award before? No, I'm not in them streets. I'm not in them circles. Well, Diana, this is a prestigious award where we have a committee and they go through graduates from various colleges within the university to determine who from that college has had significant impact in the world, who would be a great reflection of what the University of Toledo stood for. I was like, well, okay, tell me more. And she begins to tell me that there have been people who your name kept coming up with the University of College. The University College is one of them colleges like, we don't know exactly what you want to study, but you can come to this college because we catch everybody. So I graduated from the University College. I like to call them's the real humans that go to that college. And she said that we've been following your work for some time, and we believe that you would be a great representation of the University College. And we would love it if you would accept the designation of Distinguished Alumni of the Year. I was blown away. It during a critical time of the year. I had just come off of doing the All Rise Live Global Summit. Didn't return financially for the investment that I made. Both years, I didn't have the return on financial investment for this huge undertaking for my business called with the Rise Advocates Movement, trying to get Rise women to come into my movement and putting on these big events. And I was really deflated because financially, I was not a success. And I consistently listened to these videos of these people, how to become a millionaire. How did you become a millionaire? How did you do it? I felt like I was a person as an entrepreneur who had spent so much time spending so much money going into coaching courses. Oh, you don't have a mindset of belief. You're not believing that you should be successful. You don't have the right framework. You don't have the right audience. You're not talking to the right people. And I felt like I'd been pouring myself into the world to become this highly successful, highly impactful person. And on the profit and loss statement, it said loss. Why was the University of Toledo calling me to give me a Distinguished Alumni Award? Don't they see my P&L account? Didn't they hear the arguments that my husband and I had of the doubt? My husband's like, I'm tired of you going out and putting us in a negative position with these ideas that you have that are not financially paying off. No shame or no, passive aggressive blame to my husband because it's right. Like, Diana, just make money, be successful. I want you to get the return on the investment of all the work that you've been doing. But it doesn't land in the revenue side. It didn't land in the revenue side. And to be quite honest with you, when the University of Toledo said that to me, all those things were going through my head. And I'm like, wow, is this really a thing? And I had a hard time believing it, that my character, my character, the way I work, the way I show up in the world, how I invest in young girls through mentorship, through sponsorship, through being a real person had impact my character. When nobody was watching, no, I'm not a social media influencer. I don't have 500,000 followers. No, but I am a woman of influence. That's what the University of Toledo Distinguished Alumni Award meant to me, that I'm a woman of influence, that I've made an impact, because how I walk this earth, and I didn't have to pay for it. The investment that I had to make was doing what it is that I said that I would do when no one was watching. That's character. That's vibration. That's magnetism. Now, here's the catch. Here's the deep catch. I was alongside all of these amazing people who, a lot of them have walked the earth just a little bit longer than me. One of them was my colleague, Nina Corder from the Women of Toledo, who started the Women of Toledo. That was really cool to be with her, to receive an award at that same time. But the other person that won an award was an attorney. His name was Richard Walensky. And when I was all of I think I was 19 years old, I was studying to become a legal assistant, and I wanted to work at this law firm called Cooper, Walensky, and Kramer. And in this law firm were several distinguished and highly notable lawyers, one of which was called Richard Walensky, whose father was a notable judge at in Toledo. And these folks were just all the highest. They graduated from the best law schools, mostly Toledo, who had summa cum laude behind their names, and they were people who were on law review, which is a distinguished position within law school. And I will never forget saying and walking the halls of this big law firm that Richard Walensky was at, and thinking, I want to be one of these distinguished people. I want to be a summa cum laude. I want to be on law review. I want people to respect me and know me as that. And unfortunately, within that year, my brother, trigger warning, you might need to pause, but my brother unfortunately tried to take my mom's life, which required me to avert my attention to my brother and help him through this tragic experience, and to also help my mom. It's a long story that I wrote about in my book, Inspiration in My Shoes. But eventually I got my brother out of this negative situation. And guess where he wound up working? At Cooper, Walensky, and Kramer. And it was beautiful because they took him in, and here I was working with him and trying to help him through some of the legal issues and some issues that he had to have, and all explained in my book. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to spend a lot of time in the my education, and my grades began to suffer. And ultimately and sadly, one of the saddest days of my life was when eventually my brother took his own life. And I felt this loss in so many ways, because later when I went to try law review after, trying to heal from my brother's death, I didn't make law review. I graduated from the University of Toledo with a 2.7. There was no laude, cumulu laudes, sumus cum laudes, none of them laudes. I didn't have any laudes or a latte. I just graduated, and as a result was unable to get an ultimate job as a lawyer at Cooper and Walensky. Fast forward to the day when I found out that I won this award. The other person that won the award for the College of Law was, yes, you guessed it, it's Richard Walensky. Here I am sitting here getting this award for being a woman of influence, having a character that is reflective of a past and present of education and impact. And here I'm standing beside the person I thought I could never, ever stand beside in the same circles and be respected. Branding has something to do with that. And see, the thing is a lot of us believe branding is our colors, the way we wear our hair, our fingernail polish, how we might say certain words, and how we show up on social media, what cameras we have, how's our lighting, all those kinds of things. Those are the outside views of branding. I believe branding and character comes from the inside out. Because see, when you build your brand from the outside in, it becomes fragile, right? Because what if that day you just don't put on the hat or don't say the certain words, then people might forget you, right? Because then it's like, oh, they don't get that that's you. But when you build your brand from the inside out, you don't just have performance, you have presence. And that presence is felt. And what it does is it vibrates like air through people. An energetic current goes through you and through others that tells you that this is the real person. Now, I'm not going to say that those outside elements don't matter because it's proven that they do. So I know all my branding people are like, but Diana, you do have to have, and I get it. I'm not denying any of those kinds of things. But see, in the AI world, it matters even more because see, we aren't no longer competing on those factors. We're competing in different areas. And I don't really believe when you have a brand, a character brand, a personal brand, no one can compete with your story. No one can compete with your vulnerability. No one can compete with your humanity. No one can compete with your spiritual connection, your creativity, your imagination. No one can compete with that. Once you start to learn that your brand and your character comes from your who you are deep inside. Now, I do know that there are several books out there about personal branding. One of them I love is called The Brand Called You. It's an old book, but it's a book that definitely teaches along these lines. And I know, don't get me wrong, that I know a lot of people, when they talk about personal branding, they talk about story, they talk about things, but a lot of us don't feel the importance of it. We don't understand that who you are behind the scenes. Who are you when the temperature rises, not the outside temperature, but like the heat rises in a conversation? How do you respond? How are you? What's your temperament? What kind of vigilance do you have? Is it hypervigilance within your body? Do you understand how to capture energy and utilize it in the most efficient way? How quickly do you return to calm when the nervous system actually goes out of rye? Which identity are you using? Is it causing you to shrink in positions and imposter yourself, overperform, not say no? Or are you a type of person who has an executive presence about you, who understands it's most important to have principles, to create strategic thinking time, to understand the value of responding in a strategic way, not blurting out everything and causing messes? That, my friend, is a package of branding that I love, that we all know is powerful, but we're not passionate about it. And a lot of people, we like to do things that are flashy and fancy and quick and quick fix. You might say, well, how long did it take you to get that Distinguished Alumni Award? Well, I mean, it did take a long time from the time I graduated, which was in the 90s, and to now, 2026. It was 30 some odd years later, but that's long lasting. Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't get the Distinguished Alumni Award 2 years after you graduate, or maybe even 6 months after you graduate from college, but mine took that long. And I really believe it's because I'm like a fine wine. I need time to marinate, and we need time to go through different layers of our lives and building bold notes within our lives that creates the element of what's called you. And that's branding, and that's character. I want to end this with the fact that if you have been following me long enough, I love to tell stories. And I like to wrap everything up, kind of like building a case. But what I really love are frameworks. And we have a very powerful framework called the path to power, purpose, and connection. And this is the framework that I'm using throughout the entire month. If you're following the sequence, you see we're going through a month series called Influence. At the center of the path to power, purpose, and connection is influence. Because see, in order to influence someone, you have to have a sound character, right? Now, some of us use our character influencer for good, and some of us can use our influence for negative, right? I'm not saying they won't be worried. And some of us have a character that's flawed that some people actually might buy into. It will happen. But I'm talking to the people who would like to have character that's long lasting to be an influencer for good. And in our path to power, purpose, and connection, this first step is to understand your character, that your character is your brand, right? It's your brand. So I want to leave you with a few things. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. I would love for you to take some time to think about your character. What does your character do? How does it show up? And one of the best ways that you can begin to understand your character is to do this exercise. If 5 people who've worked closely with you in the last year were asked to describe you in 3 words, what would they say? And is that aligned with who you know yourself to be on the inside? Let me repeat, if 5 people who've worked closely with you in the last year were asked to describe you in 3 words, what would they say? See, because if there's a gap between those two answers, that's not a branding problem, it's a character conversation, right? So I want like you to take on the exercise. This is what we're asking our Rise 53 Inner Circle people to do. Every week we do these messages. These are what I like to call a part of our authentic power strategies. And we give messages to our Rise 53 Inner Circle, and we ask them to practice these things and to do these types of exercises. So I want to ask you to do the exercise. I want you to write, if you dare, go ask the 5 people. And if you were to say, here are 3 words that describe me, put it in the comments. Let us know. All right. You could do it. You could pause this video or you could end the video now and just do it with your team. Right. This is character. Character is long lasting. It actually describes you way after your death. It's some of the things that would easily roll off the mouth of people, not based on your bio, this is what you have accomplished, but who you are that would be in your obituary. Those are the things I'm talking about. That is the goal. When I was 19 years old, I remember thinking, wow, I want to be known for all those things. And when those things started crashing down, I had started to think differently because I couldn't attach myself. And even now, like at 57, I'm like, do I want to be known? Yes, of course I want to make money. Somebody's like, well, you sure you don't want to make money? Of course I want to make money. But at what cost? And I'm not saying that there is a cost to make money. There is, but I want to make certain it's aligned with my character. And when it is, it will stand the test of time. That's it, my friends. I hope that this message has been helpful to you, gives you a sense of walking away with a sense of feeling of knowing that what you're doing in this world is powerful. And if it's not, let's work on doing something powerful. And let's get on the path to power, purpose, and connection. Few parting words. One, if you're an organization and you would like to ask me to come in and speak, I would be happy to speak on the path to power, purpose, and connection. If you are a woman who's interested in this line of work, an executive woman, and you want to take it further, we have our Rise Advocates Academy. And we're going to start by having you take our executive biology audit. It's a beautiful way to kind of come into this world. It's our AI assistant who will walk you through a series of questions, and you will be able to get an assessment at the end. And then you can determine what level of investment you would like to make in yourself to see what next steps we can help you with. So take the executive biology audit, follow us, like and subscribe, and maybe even join me on a Sunday. On Sundays, I have what's called Not Feeling Like Myself Sundays at 9 a.m. You see, there's a lot of different ways that we can stay connected. My whole point is don't go it alone. I'm so grateful that you joined me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, the next Authentic Power Strategies video.